Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to put a backsplash on. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I'm finally getting around to do it with all the other honeydews around the house. So I'm going to be putting in a travertine tile, and I'll be showing you exactly what to do in that process. Hope you enjoy it. So the first thing that you do is you're going to take off the face plates around the outlets and stuff like that you might have in the bathroom. And then secondly, you're going to be unscrewing the outlets away from the outlet box just a little bit to where you could pull the outlet out. Just so when you do cut the tile, you could insert it from the top and from the bottom, and you can pull out the outlet to where it sits directly, well, at least where you have enough room at least to screw it still into the box, but you'll have enough room to get it over that. Second thing, or actually third thing you need to do is figure out where you're going to be running the backsplash. Like say for instance, do I want it just to run the tile straight out with this, right to the edge, or do you want to put a border on the edge here, which is what I'll be doing. I'll be putting a border to kind of hide the ends of my tile. Obviously you need to pick out what kind of tile you want. We had a mosaic that we chose at first, but after we got it here to the house and sitting next to the granite countertops, it just didn't really look that good. So we both thought the travertine would look well, and I'm not a designer by any form or fashion, but I thought this kind of looked pretty good. We will be painting the walls like a grayish color, and the countertops, you probably can't see it, but the countertops does have a little, it obviously has some black in it, a little bit of gray. The travertine has some gray and some browns in it as well to kind of go with some of the browns in the granite countertop. So we'll be doing that. We will be taking the travertine, we'll come up the window. So this window I just finished. If you want to check out how I did this window with the window casing, I have a video on that, and I'll put a link in the description there. But anyways, I'm going to be taking the travertine, coming up and framing around the window. I think it would look pretty cool. But you don't have to do that. I mean, if you want to just stop right underneath the cabinets, you could do that as well. Now, when I did the window casing, I did not put a piece up underneath it. And that was because I plan on putting the backsplash there. So that's why you don't see that. But you can put that there if you want, and then just still tile around it. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to be doing this whole section here, and then around that wall, and then I have a little section over here, which I'll show you here in a little bit. I just have two little countertops, and this is where the stove is over here, and I'll be putting it there as well. All right, let's get to work. Now, one thing I must say, when you do unscrew the screws from here, just be careful. You can use a screwdriver, or you can use a drill, or whatever you might have around the house. Just be careful because this is light power. If you feel more comfortable turning the breaker off, please do so, whatever to make you feel comfortable. I feel comfortable in screwing it. I've worked with electrical before, so I'm not necessarily afraid of it. But if you feel frightened by it, turn off the breaker, then you minimize the risk of getting shocked or something like that. But you could do whatever you feel like you needed to do. Alright, now that I got all the outlets unscrewed and away from the wall, now I'm just going to take some plastic and I'm going to cover all the granite countertops, and then with some blue tape. I'll put the plastic all the way up to the wall. Of course, I'll unfold it, and I'll put some tape along there, all on the side, just to be able to protect it. If you want to use brown paper, if you have that, that would work as well. Or if you have a sheet or something like that, or a towel, anything just kind of protect the countertops. You definitely don't want to mess those up. And besides, my wife would kill me if I mess these up. So make sure you protect the countertops any way you can, just so you don't, when you're putting the thin set on, you're not messing them up, or if you drop a tile or something like that, you just want to create as less cleanup as possible whenever you are finished. Just another quick note. So when you do put the brown paper or plastic, whatever you might have, up to the wall, don't put it all the way up to the wall, and don't put the tape all the way up to the wall. The reason I say that is because when you take your tile, whatever the thickness may be, this is roughly 3/8 of an inch. If I put this all the way up to the wall, and this is going to go to the wall, what's going to happen is now it's going to be sitting on top of my tape, and then I'm going to have to cut the tape. So instead of doing that, I'm going to bring my tape out 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so then once I'm done sitting this in, actually I'll probably put more than that. I'll probably do 1/2 an inch, because the thin set, it's going to be roughly 1/16 of an inch or so to 1/4 of thin set that's going to be coming out. So I'll put the thin set on, which is roughly 1/4 inch, and then I want to put this on behind that. So you want to sit your tape out roughly 1/2 of an inch from the wall. Hope that makes sense. All right, now that we're done putting all the tape down, all the plastic all the way around, and covered the faucet, covered everything else, got the tiles out, and I got my thin set already mixed up. And you basically want to mix it up towards almost like a peanut butter consistency. You don't want it too thick, you don't want it too thin as well. I'm going to be using the 1/4 inch trowel side on this, because these are 12 by 12s. Typically, if it's anything smaller than that, you can use like 1/8 of an inch. But usually anywhere between 6 by 6 up to 12 by 12, you want to use a 1/4 inch. I am using the Mapei, I think that's how you pronounce it, the large stone. I think it's the large tile and large stone. Basically, that thin set you can get from the box store, or you can use like a VersaBond. I'm just using the bucket. This is not what's in here. I'm using the Mapei in there. I am using these border pieces. And what you do, what I figured out I'm going to be doing, I took a level, and I just found out where the level, so you just straight line where my countertop is, and then I marked a line, so I know this line right here is level. So now I'm going to take the thin set, and then I'll paste it and I'll put it directly on like so. I mean, you could do it like this way, but I'm going to do it like that to where the tile sits in just like so. So I'm going to start tiling everything and just kind of going around, and as you go around, you might have to cut some pieces with your tile saw when you come to around the windowsill, places like that. Same thing like around the outlets, you might have to cut a little bit. If you don't have a tile saw, you can rent one from a place that has that type of equipment, like generators, lights. You can rent tile saws, you can rent all different sorts of types of stuff like that. Or you can just go out and buy one if you want. They're not too bad. You can get one for $250, $350, or even check like Craigslist or OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace, something like that, to see if somebody has one that they're selling. But you definitely need a tile saw for that. All right, well, I'm going to get started. Alright, so what you do when you measure these, just hold the tile up to right here, and wherever the bottom of the outlet box is, put a little mark, or you can take a straight edge and pull this up a little bit, do that, and you can mark it. Okay, then once you do that, you want to get your measurement from here to the edge of the box. It's 1 1/8 of an inch, or 1 1/8. So what I did is just marked 1 inch, because you got to remember you have to have 1/8 of an inch to match the spacing in between all the tiles. So I cut it at 1 inch. So I made my mark at 1 inch, and this box right here is 2 inches wide. So I put one mark here, that's 2 inches in between. So you get 1 inch, and this is at the 3 inch mark. So I'm going to go cut this right here, all the way down to here, cut all the way down to here, cut this little area out right there, and then I'll be able to fit it right back in. Once I'm done doing that, I'll put this right back up here where that goes. So as you can see here, as I cut the piece out, fits right over where the outlet would be, right inside there. And then you just put the face plate directly right over this, and you still have enough room, because the screws are long enough to still screw inside the box. So I cut this other piece, it's right up here. Even it out, make it to where the gap's still about 1/8 of an inch. I'll take this right here and just even it out. You just want to put pressure on it. You don't want to put too much, but you want to put pressure on it to where it sinks into the wall, and the thin set sinks in around it and grabs hold of it. Just like that. We'll just keep on going. I'll put another piece here, and I'll show you as I keep on going. Alright, so as you can see, this is how far I've gotten. I started way over there, moved all the way over here. Basically the same process. What you want to do is, when you get ready to come to your windowsill, what I did is I just took your whole 12 by 12 piece, set it up just like this, like how it'd sit. Then just take your marker and mark on one end where it's going to sit, which is roughly here, and then take the other end, mark it there. And then when you go out to your saw, you can take your straight edge, make a mark, and then cut that line. So that's what I did, and then you just set it right up inside there. Now when it came out to this portion right here were your 2 double outlets. And roughly, if you could think about taking a whole 12-inch piece, so if you look at it like this, a portion of it will be cut, and then it'll come up, and then it'll come over. Now you don't want to cut the whole thing, because then you'll have a gap up here when you set your next piece. So you have to cut this whole piece off, but when you come over to this one, you only want to notch it out just a little bit so it can fit on the top of the windowsill. Because then the rest of it's going to be the same height. But the easiest way to do this, which is what I did, I basically pieced it all together. But I just cut all these pieces out and I placed them on there. When it came to these other pieces, I just cut them all out individually and then stuck them on there. So that's where I'm at so far. Now when you first putting all this together, you have to really figure out what pattern you want and just kind of follow that same pattern. The pattern that I started using was having these 2 on the left side. So that's how I'll put this one up. Just like this. Just going to put a little bit of pressure on it to kind of push it into the wall, make it all even. Now when you cut the top part, you want to make sure that, obviously this is the way I'm going to be putting it up, okay? But you don't want to mark it over here. What you need to do is turn it around, because see, this is the top part that's going to be touching the cabinet. You don't want to cut it here, because if you cut it here, then you're going to have a little piece, which is not going to match the bigger ones. It's going to look kind of weird. So you want to cut it off the top part up here, because that's the part you're not going to see. So what you need to do is you flip it around, set it all the way up to the cabinet, and then make your marking here and then here. And that's where you cut it. So then when you go to install it and you bring it like this is the part that's cut, that's sitting at the top of the cabinet. And this is the part that's going to be touching here, and then you won't see anything at all. All right, everybody. Just letting you know that I finally finished the backsplash of the kitchen. As you can see, going from one side, the little trim right over there. I went up the kitchen window there with a stone, came right around. Same thing there, stopped there. I tried putting a transition right there, but it was kind of weird. As you can see, the counter hangs out farther. So when I put the transition piece there, it was sticking out outside the cabinet. It looked really weird. So I ended up taking it back out and just putting the tile all the way to the door casing there. So that's that side, and then on to the other side where the oven is. You can see same thing there. Sorry for the camera moving around a little bit. And so that side, I did pull the stove out, and I did tile behind basically the same line as the counter all the way across, and then behind the refrigerator I went about 6 inches in, just so I don't see any gap there or just the wall. I want it to look full, not stop at the counter and then I see the wall. That would have bugged me. So I did that. As you can see, I did the side there. I did put the trim piece right there. I think it looks pretty good. So just wanted to let you all see that final product. I do still need to grout. I need to wait about 24 hours to let it sit really well, the thin set to harden up. So hopefully tomorrow, after I get home from work, I'll grout the whole thing. And then once I'm done grouting it, then I will seal it. And then I will be finished. All right, I'll show you how to grout it once I get to that point tomorrow. Thanks.